Hi everyone. Am I audible to you all? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Audible.
Okay. So let's we continue today's session. We are going to start the ARIMA here, auto regression integrated moving average, and I will show you the. In the last session we were working on that PACF and SEF auto correlation factor and what is the partial auto correlation factor, how it is calculated. So first I explain you about the autocorrelation factor. So this is on your window. Look at this. This is the formula for the autocorrelation. This is the xt or the yt. We say the yt or the rt. I have written here. We could write that the yt minus y bar. This is the and and this is the yt minus k. Okay, r you see think it is a y. T minus k, how many leg you want to do the partial autocorrelation for that? 3 leg, 5 leg, 10 leg, 20 leg. So that is a T minus k or minus that y bar, the mean of whole observations. And in the denominator, it is the covariance basically between them. And it is the yt minus y bar square. Okay. So this is the formula for our autocorrelation, or I will show you the practical for this. I'll show you that thing. Uh, Look at here. We have this y. I have taken very few observations, 8 observations only, not the 7 observations. And here I have find out the mean of this 7 observations mean I have taken here. With the average A2 to A8. And then I have got the y minus mean of y that we have seen in the formula. It is for the leg 0. Leg 0 is this, and it is for the leg 0. I am writing here the leg 0 basically. So it is the y minus mean of y, 10 minus 33.42. I am getting 20 minus 23.42. In this way I am getting this. And then what I have done, I just copied this and I paste here. Okay. So just I show you, just I copy, Control C, and then I paste. And here again, I copy and then I paste. So it what happened here because it is basically it is 9 A9. Okay. So I don't want to E3 minus that is the Control Z. That is okay. Okay. So it is not working that way. I just do it. There's the problem in Microsoft Excel always. So I just copy and paste here and then paste here also. These all. And this is the leg 1, leg 2, leg 3 as you can see here. And then I have taken the square of this, what we have in this formula. We are taking the square of this. RT minus R bar, RT minus R bar square I am taking it. And what I am doing, I am multiplying this RT minus R bar into RT minus K into R bar. So T minus K the first leg and R bar. So I will get in this way, RT minus K minus that Y bar, sorry. So similarly, this is for that, and this is for second, this is for third. So these are three product I have got. So this is the, now I have this one up to here, okay, and I will get the summation of this all, okay, all summations I am getting here. And what I am doing, I am dividing this by this square of leg G, okay. Dividing by this. So this I am dividing by this, I am dividing by this. So I am getting 0.5395 for this first leg. For second leg, I am getting this much ACF, and for the third leg, I am this much. So this ACF I am getting 1, 2, 3. This is the negative one. So you see in the downward side trend, this is the upward, both are the upward. And how we get this level, which is the upper critical limit or the confidential limit, we could say, upper confidential level and lower confidential level limit, or we could say the level. So this we have the formula 2 divided by square root of 8. So we have 8, or how many we have? Not 7. So I have to divide by 7. I have only done this by 8. Okay. So this G9, this sum, and this I have to divide by 8, not 9. We have 8 observations only, 7 observations. Okay, we have to divide by 7, sorry. So I divide it by 7, and this also I divide by 7, and then what I do, I just not, it's okay, this one and this one. So this is like that, divide by 7. This is my limit. If it is more than that SEF cross this, so it is a significant, otherwise it is not significant. Okay. So we have to remove those observations which are above this. Okay. So this is given here. It will always go in this way. And this is for the ACF. Does that make sense to everyone? How we find out the ACF?
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, can you take me to the cell where log 0 multiplied by lag 0 multiplied by lag 2 is there? The second last column, 220 observation.
This one.
Okay.
P4 into D4. B4 is this one. I just click double, so you could get P4, D4.
Okay. Okay. Fine. No worries. Yeah.
Sir, will you
And
provide
this
this
we have
Excel,
done.
sir?
This
Because
we have
you know,
done, you see. Yeah. Yes, sir.
sorry, sir. Just now I could join because I had an office meeting. So will
Okay,
you
okay.
provide this Excel sheet also?
I will provide this. I will
Take it,
provide
sir.
this today.
Take it, sir.
So this is the formula I have written, G9 divided by G F9. So this the F9 is the square root of leg 0. Square of leg 0, not the square root. Square of leg 0 as per the formula. Square of leg 0. Okay, does that make sense to everyone? So I am dividing by this, everything, this one also I am dividing by this one. Okay, so I will show you again. You see here, it is again dividing by this. Okay, and then you see this is also dividing by this, the sum. So I am getting this, And the UCL or LCL, I have explained you how to. This is the formula 2y square root of the total number of observations, square root of n. The square root of n is 7. Okay, this is the formula for that. Here it is in -2 divided by square root of 7. Okay, this is the lower limit we will get. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is for the SEF. Now we see the PACF. Okay, so what we do in the PACF, we have the leg. Okay, we are not getting the deviation here. Here we use the linear regression of this data. The coefficients of each leg would be a PACF. Okay, so what we are doing, we are just copy this and paste this, then paste here one, and leave one cell, one row, and then paste it, leave one row, and in this way. And we take only this much. Does that make sense to everyone? We will remove this, and then we will remove this. I use some different color for removing. So we have removed this, and we have also removed this. We have only this data. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay.
Yes.
This is our leg 1, leg 2, leg 3. Now what I will do, I will find out the regression. But this is my target variable. Leg 0 is my target variable. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, sir.
So what I will get the formula, I explained you. I will get the formula. Leg 0 is my target variable. So I write the leg 0 here. Leg 0 is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 leg 1. Does that make sense to everyone? Plus beta 2 leg 2 plus beta 3 leg 3. Does that make sense to everyone now? So whatever the coefficient I will get, this beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, this would be my PACF. Does that make sense to everyone? Partial autocorrelation factor. This coefficients. Who has read about the linear regression, they already know about it. What does it mean? Beta 0, beta 1, beta 2, beta 3. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. If somebody has doubt, could ask me. So in this way, we get this partial autocorrelation. Okay. This we have seen the autocorrelation formula. Okay. Now we do some practical with R. Now we see the RIMA model, auto regression integrated moving average. And we have the three parameters, P, D, Q. P for the auto regression, and D is for the order of differences, and Q is the order of our machine moving average. So I use the library forecast, and there is a auto RIMA. We have a method function, and here I am writing the sovereign TS, Savanir TS, the time series. So first I have to import this. I just import this and I convert this, and I will show you this time series once more, and then I log this and I will plot this again. And now I am not using that exponential smoothing, so I will not run this Holt Winters. Okay, I am using auto regression moving average model, so I will just write the auto ARIMA and the sovereign TS. And it is the arm fit, and if I show you the arm fit, you will see this is the arm fit is the 200. Auto regression is the 2. We have 2 leg behind, we are going, and then 2, then 2, and 011 is another factor. The 12 is the frequency we have. It is the monthly data. It is the coefficients AR1, AR2, SMA1, RIT, and the sigma square estimated 0.02953 log likelihood. AIC and BIC, there are so many things we have to interpret. I will tell you later about it. First we see how does it work. So I forecast this for 4 years, 48 months. So ARIMA, and I plot this. So you see it is my forecasting for the next 4 years. And SEF, if I see here, it is for the, I am taking for the ARIMA future residuals. So if I see the attributes of this ARIMA, ARIMA fit, sorry. So I am getting here this residuals. So ARIMA future, if I see there would be a residuals, I just see the future. And there is the same. I am getting here the residuals. Okay. So these residuals I am taking, and leg maximum 20 legs. I want to see the ACF. As we have taken in the example 3 legs only here. Leg 1, leg 2, leg 3. There we are taking 20 legs. You see these are the 20 legs. And everything is under control we have. Okay. So this ULC, if you see, it is 0.2, more than 0.2. For how many observations we have here? If you see the observations, there are 84 observations we have. And when you divide 2 by 84, root of 84, 2 divided by square root of 84, and we see what we get, 0.21. So it is correct or not? Does that make sense to you? How does we get this upper confidence level and the lower confidence level? Lower confidence level, we just put the negative here and I run this, so I will get minus. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So first leg would always be outside it, no problem. It always be okay. From second we have to see the 0 leg it is. From second, if the 1 is also outside that, sometimes they count it 1. Okay, so that is the, if you see the Q norm and the histogram for this, you see the histogram is the normal we have. Okay, and the QQ norm we see it is also something normal. If there is no line that, but it is normal. So this is in this way we could see it. Okay. Auto ARIMA we could do in this way, and we could order the things by ourselves also, but there is ARIMA model, previously we used it. but now there is a new function auto arima. It calculates everything and it gives us the correct whatever required. Okay. So you see, if we use the arima, then we get the same thing. But we use the auto arima because we don't want to go in this. We have to do for PED and Q. That's very
Sir,
technical.
what? Just one question. What model ARIMA has fixed here? Auto ARIMA. What is the value of PDQ?
PDQP is the order of our auto
No, what?
regression.
Yeah, no. What? Which value has it chosen for this model?
2, okay. 2 it has
200. What is that chosen? 200 or 011? What is it that it has chosen?
okay. With the auto regression, it is taking 2 leg behind, and
Okay.
then 2 leg, then 2 leg, and the 0 is it is not taking the differences there.
Yeah.
No, without difference, it is going the integration what we are talking about.
Yeah.
So it is not differencing anytime, and this is the Q is the moving average. So it is also order is 0 of the moving average.
Generally, it is. I mean, when we choose a ARIMA model, it's generally only one. Why is it ARIMA 200011? Why is it 2 times it is written? Because it will choose one
It is
model.
the internal and there are 2 things we see here in the ARIMA. If I show you,
Okay.
because I don't go in deep that much, uh, I just show you. Hey, that is in the Python. We want in R. ये नहीं देगा मुझे तो देखिए. Okay, we see in the R itself, so we could get there. Go to ARIMA. See. It is the ARIMA model according to either AIC, or BIC value. The function conducts a search over possible model within the order constraints. So there are so many things here.
Okay, I think it has chosen 2 models then, based on AIC or BIC criteria, because those are the
Yeah.
criteria to choose the lags. So I think it has chosen 2 models. I think those are the 2 models it is. Because when we run it manually, sometimes like it is a very tedious process. So we generally, when we do it in other softwares, it's a tedious process where we find out PDQ, different permutation
different.
combinations. And then, so basically, I think those are the 2 models. So
No, there I will tell you. They both are the different thing. One is the small PDQ and the other is the capital PDQ, basically.
oh, okay.
And that's the thing. I think there it should be in our PPT. I have written something about it, but people don't go in that deep. So I also ignore these things. It is the I have not mentioned here, but the small and capital both.
It's okay, sir. I'll search it out later, sir.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
problem. You can
I
proceed.
will explain. I could explain. Here you see the PQ. I will tell you here. The max D, the maximum number of non-seasonal references D, small d, PQD, the PQ, maximum value of P, maximum value of Q, and maximum value of capital P, maximum value of capital Q. And here D is the order of first differencing. If missing, we'll choose a value based on a test. There is so internally it is too much complicated basically. It is the formula we have auto ARIMA, so we are using that. Or it is giving us everything it is calculating. We don't have to do anything. We just get the output. Order of seasonal differencing, if missing, we'll choose the value based on season dot test. So previous that formula I taught I taught the each and everything. So I will search that PPT also. Here I have written each and everything. Okay. So
Okay, sir.
my last 3 years I have not taught in that deep to
Sir, actually,
anyone.
based on this, it means that I think first is the model that it has chosen, and second is the bracket is the maximum values that it can actually take.
It
Like
may be.
maximum, maybe that is the solution.
There
Maybe
is a
that is
capital
explanation.
P, capital Q. You see here.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you could search it out on the net also. You
yeah, yeah,
get the
sir. I'll do it.
videos
No,
and
no problem.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, because yeah, it's okay, sir. No problem.
It is a specific algorithm which we use. The very few people use this time series analysis. Generally, they use the predictive analysis modeling like the linear regression, logistic regression, decision tree, random forest, support vector machine, and these all. The time series analysis, very few people works on this time series analysis. Okay. So still, I have not got any project up to now for the time series analysis. Somebody asked me once or twice, but I ignored them. So that is our auto arima. We use the auto arima only, and then we could get this through this function. We could get the thing. Suppose if I just do one thing, one practical I want to do. Yeah, I remove this all first. I do one thing. I just read this and read this. I am not taking the log of this. Then I try to fit it in auto arima. Now I see this. Now you see. The difference you got here, the difference between both the model. Previously what we have created, 200. Now 111. If I plot getting this. So I have not taken the log value. I directly done this. And SEF if I see here, it is under control again. So this is the auto arima, auto regression integrated moving average. And Sarima is also there for the seasonal variation. If we have the Sarima, we could use apply here. It is for the Sarima, basically we use this one for the Sarima. There is a seasonal variation we have. And this we have the seasonal variation. So we are taking, this is for the Sarima. I got this. This is for the Sarima model, for the seasonality it is. And this is for the actual one. If I take one more other model here for that, like so instead of souvenir I am taking this skirt. There is no seasonality, so we see what happens here. Okay, so this is the TS, and this I am taking here in auto arima. I just take that with that this side, Control C. Look at here. Nikita?
Yes, sir.
That is for seasonality. The second PDQ is for the
Okay.
seasonality. Okay.
Okay.
There is no seasonality in this SCUT data. We have seen that. Okay. So there is only PDQ, small PDQ. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
That is for the Sarima. Sarima we also do through this only. There is no different formula they have given for the Sarima model.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Got it, sir. Got it.
It is better for the irregular variations if we have in your data. Then we apply ARIMA. Otherwise, the exponential smoothing curve is better. Okay. If there is no irregular variation in the series, then we apply the exponential smoothing. Otherwise, we switch to the ARIMA. Whether you have seasonal component or not, then we use it.
Okay.
So now you something search on the net and you could work on this time series. Okay.
Yeah, I mean the output is easier in this because another softwares the manual iterations I had
Yeah,
to
we also did at that time.
Yeah.
Before 3 to 4 years when I have not got this formula, was not
Yeah.
developed. So
Yeah.
we also sometimes we have to see the lag and SCF and the
Yeah, that was very
PACF.
tedious work. Actually.
That is very tedious. So we have to search it out, and the different package give us the different form, because here you see the leg starts from 0. In the some packages leg starts from 1. So
Yeah.
we get sometimes confused.
Yeah.
So what we have to select, what we don't have to select. So that was the thing over the time.
So just one thing that you just said, right? If the series has irregularity, then we use ARIMA, right?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
otherwise you could use, but it is better if you have the irregularities in the series, then it is better. You could not do that with the exponential smoothing if there is a irregularity in the series.
Okay.
The ARIMA has that thing that it will remove that what we say, the
Yeah.
irregularities. It
Yeah.
manage that thing. ARIMA algorithm.
Yeah, I mean it very beautifully it explains, no, that a series when we are forecasting, the
Hmm.
PDQ tells us what are the three factors it is taking into account while making the forecast.
Hmm.
So it is, I mean, there is in this one 120 the series it had to take 2 times differencing had to be taken, and
Hmm.
no MA process but AR1. That's how we interpret it.
Yeah.
So AR1 and MA0, but differencing integrated of order 2.
Integrated by order 2, the 2 times differentiate with this.
Yeah.
And
So that's the best
auto.
permutation and combination we got for
Hmm.
making the forecast. It can be anything else also, 110 or 000.
It may be. But it gives us the perfect one.
Yeah. This is though I'm very surprised. Last time I did it, it was it took me days to find the ARIMA.
Why I could not get time, I have to see these all things, but I have to explain AIC and BIC. It's a very long topic.
No, sir, it's very actually it's called if you allow me, I can explain this one. I mean,
So you explain them to the persons are here.
so AIC is called Akaki Information Criteria, and
Yeah.
BIC is called Bayesian Information Criteria.
Hmm.
These are the criteria to choose what should be here in PDQ. So P is 1, D is 2, and Q is 0. So to choose whether it's mainly these are the criteria AIC and BICs are used. So when we look at the ACF and PACF, sometimes now we are getting the upper and the lower limit. Previously we were not getting those, so we used to rely on the values of AIC and BIC and see which is closer to ACF and PCF values to decide the value of P or Q. Integration is separate from these two. So it is a criteria to decide the which order, what is my AR process and what is my MA process. That is it. It is not very complicated. It is just the criteria, and it is because the software is now already giving you automatically the value of P, D, and Q. So you don't need to really go in detail of what is AIC and BIC.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
Previously, because I had to run 500 models to see whether 111 will be okay or 101. I mean, with 3 digits, I can have so many permutation combinations.
Permutation combination, yeah.
So previously we had to run all those iterations to see which model is my best fit. That's why AIC and BIC was used. Now it is giving directly results, then it is actually much better. So that's that.
So next our topic is we have, I just see. Just a moment, I just see in the curriculum.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, can you explain this D in PDQ parameters? What is D, first order differencing?
The differentiation, you know that it is the opposite of integration. The first differentiation we are taking, second differentiation we are taking.
Can you explain that with some example?
Okay, just a moment. Time series we have completed. We have a SVM and the extreme boost and the k neighbors and the night days. Okay, this I will explain tomorrow. That SVM we start from tomorrow. Linear. Okay, Suresh Kumar, you want to understand the linear and logistic. Aditya, I see whether I get the example in my mind. Present. Okay, I will take some example, but I don't have this time. Okay. So practically, if I explain you, it would be better.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will see in my old scripts if I get these all, because previous I did these all things manually. Understand? From last 3 to 4 years, we have this formula, auto.org. So we started to use it, and I just explain this thing and I wind up it. Okay. Well, everything is ready-made is there, so no need to do any clarification. Anything is there, so I just started this.
Actually, sir, first order differencing is y minus 1. So basically the
Y
previous
minus 1, that is
value.
that is the subtraction, that is the y minus 1.
Yeah. So
And
basically,
uh,
if the series is there,
hmm,
we subtract the like previous value from the current value. That is called
hmm,
the first order differencing.
yeah,
So after we do that in a data, generally irregular data or a data which is non-stationary becomes stationary after that.
yeah.
So that is the purpose. So basically subtracting the series from its own past values,
Hmm.
that is the first order of integration, like divide
Then we again subtract it. That is the
then we
second
again
order.
subtract it, and then yeah, it becomes quadratic. So matlab, it becomes very complicated as it goes when we say I2, I3, I4.
Hmm,
All we need is just to understand what is going on in the background, and that is that when we subtract the series from its own past values, we are removing the irregularity or non-stationarity from the data.
hmm,
So when it takes any model, it's integrated of order 1, it means that it has taken care of the non-stationarity problem.
hmm,
So I mean, whichever order is required, R is taking. So here in
hmm.
your model, last model, it has integrated twice.
Twice, yeah.
So it was needed because, so what happens is when we take a series, we subtract it from its past value. That is, again, I said as it's integration of order 1. Then
Hmm,
we again do it in quadratic form. So that is
hmm,
called integration of order 2. So actually in this series, it was required, integration was required 2 times to make it stationary. This is what it
Yeah.
means.
Okay.
Otherwise, otherwise it would have remained, if we would have just used one, it would have remained non-stationary, and the results from a non-stationary model are never reliable. So that's the bottom line of the story in this.
It is the differencing
Okay.
basically. Understand, Aditya?
Yes, yes, definitely. Thanks, Nikita.
You're welcome.
Because I have not worked on this time series basically. Okay. Some chapters sometimes we don't like. Oh, this is the chapter I have not worked and I always run away from this.
No, sir, it's very complicated. Actually, it
Yeah,
becomes.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just
And
typing.
because I didn't have time. I have some other work, so I didn't give the time to this particular topic. It's a very vast topic, time series
Yeah,
analysis.
yeah.
So I run away through this topic. I just finish it.
Yeah.
I
just
worked with
copied
some
Sir,
pasted
I
other.
have
one,
a doubt.
Yeah, yeah. Ask.
Sir, I have a doubt, sir.
Ask me.
Sir, in our geographical study research work, for some river discharge data, they are predict through ARIMA model. So for future 2 or 3 years, and then check it through true data. So how can I interpret this ARIMA model for that case?
You get the answer from Nikita.
Sorry, sir, I did not hear that question. Sorry,
You
I
ask
was
again.
writing something else for the group, so I'm sorry. I was writing something in the
Please you
chat.
ask again, Suman. Can I? Okay, please you ask again.
My inquiry is that in my research area in geography, some rivers discharge data for 2 or 3 years. Then researcher applied ANIMA model, then they are compared with observed to expected. So that is how I
Voice
interpret
is
this
not
ANIMA
clear,
model.
Suman.
So your voice is breaking. I can't. Can you write it? The question, maybe I can.
Okay, I write.
Also, sir, one more thing, right? I mean, we need. I mean, that's what I have studied in time series. That so whenever we take a time series data, at least 25 observations should be there, right, to make a forecast. I mean, 25 years of data. I think that's a time series rule, na? 20 or 25 years at least. I mean, because
Yes,
in
ma'am.
EMP,
Frequency of data, not the year. If you have the monthly, then the 25-month data you should have.
yeah, I mean 20 to 25 because in economics, no, sir, the data is annual, like GDP
Yeah,
and everything.
GDP.
So the problem occurs that if it is less than 20 years, no, then if we do forecasting from that data, then people actually don't accept the papers for publication. They say
Yeah.
that it's not a well fit model because it's not enough data.
Hmm.
So it should be at least 20 to 25 years in terms of observations, and just in case we are
Or
requiring.
the Suman has only 3 years, 3 to 4 years geographical
I
data.
don't think ARIMA can be done on that.
Hmm.
I don't think so. I mean, if it is years, then he should have monthly data, like
It may be.
monthly or quarterly. Then
Quarterly,
even
then we could do. If it is quarterly, then 3 years data, it will be not
no,
right.
sir. Even then, it will be
Fourth is a 12 we will get.
4 quarters. So 4 4s are 4 3s are 12. Sorry,
12,
12.
12
Again, that is less. So
less.
okay, 10 years.
Day wise, 10 years day wise river recharge.
Oh,
Data
okay, okay.
researcher. Okay.
Day-wise
Nice.
data.
Day wise data.
So,
Next
sir,
3 years we have to predict for that.
so but sir, I mean, Suman sir, is there? Do you have any independent variables, or is just a single series you are using for the? I mean, river discharge.
Single series.
So, sir, the same model that sir has applied, no?
Same model.
Same model, I think what he did is similar model because sir is teaching us univariate. So that is a perfect actually example of what sir is teaching. PDQ will be decided by ARIMA. I think it's a single command, and then you will get the forecast.
Okay, but my main query is how to interpret this. Actually, in my research area, we should need to explain it more
Yeah.
for published a article in the international platform. So just it's the ARIMA output just the value. So how can I interpret in details for my research area?
Sir, I think like I mean that's what generally what I at least do is when I'm doing something with a new technology or technique, in this case ARIMA, let's say, I would collect some papers even though they are not from my area. I will look at how ARIMA output is interpreted in those papers.
Interpreted. That is very important. It required the experience. You know
Yes.
that, Suman, because I have not done any work on this time series so far. I have not even the research paper or the statistical analysis on the PhD thesis also. I have not done on this particular time series analysis. So I even didn't have any idea about how to interpret it, but I could collect some research paper. You could also get some research paper from the internet. You see how they have interpreted it. That's right. Nikita is telling. And that
Actually,
same approach
generally,
we use. Same approach we use.
yeah. Actually, what you have to explain in that is ARIMA. I mean, what you are, if sir can show just one hour output that he uh, shows. Sir, can
The
you show?
sigma square is there. Then you have to explain the sigma square. Then the
Yeah, I mean, you
BIC,
have to.
AIC. These all things.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah. Book by Gujarati as well. That is a good suggestion. Plus, like, you have to mainly explain what is PDQ in this. Like, you can say that the river discharge data when has autoregressive AR value of 1, it means that it is only dependent on 1 year past value or 1 year previous value.
Yeah.
And MR value, if it is let's say MR moving average Q is equals to 0, you can say that the series errors are not related. So I mean technically we say it like that, but with regard to data you have to interpret it. And also you, of course, you have to, first thing is coefficient main, that you have to interpret.
AR1, the coefficients are there. There I will show you that
Yeah, I mean this
this is
coefficient.
very important.
So basically it's negatively related to its own value, like
Yeah, it's
I
already
think
here. You
basic
see.
regression, yeah. I think, sir, you will benefit if you take like some papers and then see ARIMA. So I mean it will be very specific. You have to, all this has to be interpreted,
Yeah.
that this is the main value actually which sir is highlighting. This is the
Hmm.
main value which will be used to forecast the future values. And then comes the PDQ has to be interpreted. Given it depends on what software you're using. So this R is giving us an output like that. I think if you use SPSS or Stata, a different kind of output will be there. And then there
Yeah.
are some standards of every journal which looks for. So like at least R square should be there of a model, or RMSE, whichever is applicable in this case.
Yeah.
So all those statistics should be there for a paper. And then
There is one Arimax model is also there if you want to take more than one variable.
yes, that is for multivariate.
Multivariate. That
This is a
Arimax.
single variable being forecasted based on its own previous value. If you
Yeah.
want to forecast the variable based on other values, other variables, as well as the variable's own value.
Auto regression and other parallel also, the both way.
Yes.
That's I have not read about it, but I have heard about it and I have not worked on it. Arimax.
Actually, sir, ARIMA, what happens is, when we get a very long time series and we try to make a forecast, then sometimes actually, it becomes a little messier with all these 1 to 0 and all those things. So now since it is clear, I also did it when Arimax I did, but it was that time I had to find all this on my own. So I mean, I think there will be papers there. If you wish, we can maybe look for papers and send it, or give the email ID. I can find something and send it to you.
So when it's okay now. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
And the D Gujarati book is also there. Tarun Sen Gupta is
Yes,
written
sir.
in the chat box. Okay,
Yes.
you could refer it also. You download some research paper also of the time series of. It doesn't mean that it should be of your field only. You could just download and you see the interpretation. Okay, it may be of the some other field also, some other stream also. Just see the interpretation. Two or three papers, you will get the idea.
Okay, sir.
We also did this in our work when we have started these all things. The every nobody could be expert in every field, every corner of the subject. So I'm not expert in this time series as much. But is exponential smoothing I know very well, but ARIMA I have not worked so much. Okay,
Okay, sir.
so we start that linear and logistic regression. Somebody asked me yesterday also. So please, you explain that. So Radhakrishna ji, you asked me about it, no? Logistic and linear logistic regression.
Sir, me and Radhakrishnan sir both asked.
Okay. So
Yeah, both. Yeah.
okay. So I explained this here. I think there's some other also who has not joined that session. So I explained that today, and tomorrow we will start new one, that is the support vector machine. Okay. So I just explain you, and I just share my screen with you first. And, at first, I'm going to tell you that what is okay. This is not required now. So you need that linear. First, I show you the PPT little bit, so you could start with the PPT, do better. Okay. Linear regression. Linear regression model is a statistical procedure that allows a researcher to estimate the linear or the straight line relationship that relates to or more variables. Okay, straight line relationship we see here because it is the linear regression. Or we see the practically, this I will share to you. I just go to that. You see, we have a. You know that this equation. Are you aware of that? This equation, y is equal to mx plus c.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is the equation of a straight line. Okay, and you know that this m is a slope and c is the intercept of the line. If I draw a line here, take this down. If I draw a line here, this line. So what would be? This would be C, intercept, this one. And the slope if I see, so the theta I will get, whatever the theta I will get, that is the tan theta is the slope. Okay, well, tan theta is nothing, it is a perpendicular over base. Okay, so it is the rise over run. Okay, this is the rise, this is the run. So that is the slope. So if you have two variables, x and y only, and suppose x is our RAN and y is our crop production, and we have few values here, and we are making the model with this value, and then finally we will predict for the future values. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what will happen if we draw this? We get the past few years data of rain and crop production, and then we have plotted this on this graph. Okay, and we plotted this here. First I remove this, so it would be better. And again I draw the line, x and y axis only, so you won't get confused. So if I plot few points here, like this, on the these are the values of this is our rain. This is the x-axis we have, and this is our y-axis. Here is the crop production we have. Okay, and here the rain in the millimeter, whatever is given to us, and the crop production in the tons, metric tons we have given to here. Okay, we are plotting these points. We are plotting these points. This year we have got this much, and then the second year we have got this much, and then we have got this much, and then we have got this much, and then we have got this much. In this way we are getting this. Okay, sir. In this way we have got it, and we have to draw a line which is the best fit line for the prediction. The line, how we have to draw the line? First we see. Suppose I draw this line, which is a best fit line, and this height is my y1. The height is the y-axis. So it is the y1. Suppose, hypothetically, this is my y2. This is my y3. This is my y4, and this way I am getting this. The actual height, the actual crop production on this point, the actual crop production on this point. And if I see the y cape, it is my prediction point on the line. It is a straight line. I will get the prediction. So this is my y1 cape. This is my y2 cape. And in this way I will get the, this is my y3 cape y3, and in this way I get. So this is some kind of error I will get. E1, then E2, okay, then E3, then E4, and this way I get some error. This is a error because it is not, it is the difference between the predicted and the actual. It's a residual basically. So we get these all residuals there. So we have to fit the line where the summation of EI should be near to 0. But there are two possibilities of getting this summation 0. One, if your all if equal to 0, it is near to 0, I am saying. But there are two possibilities. The summation of EI equal to 0. One possibility is that if the all points, this actual points lies on this line, y1, y2, y3, then summation of EI would be 0 because there would not be any error. Does that make sense too?
Yes,
Is
sir.
it
Yes,
and
sir.
second thing is that if the few points which are above this, so EI is what? EI is yi minus yk pi. Does that make sense to you? Actual
Yes.
y minus predicted y. That is the thing. So some of the points which are above this line, suppose yi minus yk pi. So the actual yi is greater than yk pi, then it is a positive. Above points you will get the positive in this way, and the below whatever the actual points you will get the negative. If the sum of the all above points equal to the sum of the points which are below this line is equal, then again summation ei may be 0 or not.
It will be 0, sir.
Right.
So and none of the points lie on the line, but the summation is 0. So it is not a good measure for the best fit line.
No, sir. No, sir.
So then what we will do, we'll find out the square of this. So we'll get all positive as we do in standard deviation, and then we divide by n, and then we take the square root. So it is called a RMSE, root mean square error. This is the measurement of linear equation. It should be S less SB, S minimum SB. Root mean
Means square error.
square error. This is our main criteria by which we could measure the model, the accuracy of the model. So what we do, RMSE, one measure also, that is the R square, that is the determinant, coefficient of determination. Okay. So which I will explain. There is a various method to find the R square, one through the coefficient, another through some other method also we use for that. So the root mean square error, what we do, we divide the data in two parts, training and testing, you know that. And we find out the RMSE for training data. We create the model, then we put the data in that model, the training data. And then we find out the RMSE of that. And in the testing, we also put in that model and we find out the RMSE for that. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
And we see the difference between the RMSE of training and testing. We compare it. If there is a big difference, then our line is not good, best fit line. There is something we have to remove some variables or whatever we have to do the pre-processing of data again. Is there any query, sir?
Okay, sir.
So how we get it, manually how we get it, we have a X, we have a Y. Okay. So what we get, the summation of X and summation of Y. This we could get. Then we get the X square, then we get the Y square, then we get the XY. So we get the summation of this all. And then finally what we do, we make two equations. Sigma Y is equal to NA plus B sigma X. This is our first equation. This numerically we could get the value from here. This is the number of observations we have already value, and the sigma X is here we have. So we have the value, we have only the variables A and B here. Second equation we make sigma XY is equal to A sigma X plus B sigma X square. So sigma X square you have, sigma X you have, sigma XY you have. So we get two equations and then we simplify this. We have two variables, A and B only. So we find out the value of A and B easily. Can we?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So this value we put in the final equation. The final equation is just like Y is equal to mx plus c. So we write here A plus bx. B is the slope. Here B is the slope and A is the intercept. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
This is our final equation Y cap. If you want the actual value, it is the final equation of this line Y cap. A plus bx. The cap is the protection for. And if you want the actual Y1, then what you have to do? You have to write in this way. Y is equal to A plus bx plus E. Then you adjust that error. Then you could get this thing, now Y1. You have to adjust this error. Then you could get the actual Y. Otherwise, the equation is Y cap is equal to A plus bx. Does that make sense to you?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Now we see one more thing. That is, I take a new sheet for that because there is no space in this sheet. If you have a multi-variable, okay, we don't have the single variable or the one independent variable. There was, in that case, I have shown you only the one independent variable, the one dependent variable. Dependent variable is always one, unique. And the independent variables may be more than one. Maybe the seed quality, maybe some other variables, although the irrigation, the sunlight, and some other variables, maybe also fertilizers, pesticides, maybe. So suppose we have many variables. So the equation would be like this. I just explain you the equation. Y cap is equal to beta 0. Beta 0 is the slope, intercept, sorry. And the beta 1 x1, beta 2 x2, beta 3 x3, and up to k variables. We have dependents, independent, sorry. So we beta k xk. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah,
Yes.
This is the linear equation. Okay. So linear regression equation, we are getting this. So I explain you some more things through that. Now you could better understand these PPTs. You know that I have written there the run x2 minus x1, y2 minus y1. This is the slope b we are getting here. And this I have explained you earlier. And this also I have explained you. This everything I have explained you there. And this is the R square, what I am going to explain you. If you see the yi minus cap yi, it is the, I will tell you first, explain you the thing. This is our data. This is the y bar, the mean of the y, mean of the target variable. It is the line of, it will be the always horizontal for the all x1, x2, x3, x4. Okay. And this is the predicted point I have. This is the y cap. And this is the actual y I have. So difference between y and y cap, it is SSE. Is it SSE? If we take the square of this, so sum of square of errors, it is the error basically. I have explained you earlier, actual and this. And this is the between the mean and the y, it is total. It is the total. The total we have this. So SST, if you take the square of this, the yi minus y bar, yi minus y bar. So we are taking this whole. So it is the sum of square of total. Sum of square of total. The sigma yi minus y bar square. Okay. And this is the residual we have. Y cap minus y bar, the square of this. It is the sum of square of residuals. So always SST, this SST is the sum of square of total is equal to sum of square of residual and the sum of square of error. Does that make sense to you?
okay, sir. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So how we get the R square here? R square is also the one or the one more variable y which we could see the performance of our linear model instead of RMSE. So R square is the SSR over SST. SSR is the sum of residual, this one, and SST is the total. So if suppose our SSR is 0, SSR is 0 means this line, the mean line is here itself. So then SST is equal to SSE or not? SST and SSE both will
Yeah,
be equal.
right. Mhm.
So
Yes.
if you write the SSR 0, suppose if you write the SSR 0 and SST you write SST, so it will be 0 or not? 0 by something is 0. So R square is 0.
Yes, sir.
It means SST is equal to SSE here. Okay, SST is equal to SSE. And when we see that SSR is equal to SST, SSR is this one, sorry, SSR is this one, equal to SST, equal to SST. So what will happen? This will come to here or not? SSE would be 0. Then only you could get the SSR equal to SST or not?
Yeah.
SSE must be 0. No? Does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
This SST I want equal to SSR. So I will keep, I will down this point here to this line. So this would be 0. SSE would be 0. Okay. So SSR and SST both are equal. Then SST over SST we could write, or SSR over SSR we could write, and it would be 1. So your point is now, actual point is now on the line. So it means your line is best fit. Okay, there is a difference is very, so if the values of R square lies between 0 and 1. So 0 is not a good model. If your value is very near to 1, then your model is good. Then this SSE is very small, as a square of the sum of the square of SSE is very small. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Here R square shows the goodness of model, or in other words, what percentage of variability can be explained in my response as the linear combination of the predictors. Okay, that is the meaning of this. And I have some more things I will explain you later. RMAC I have explained you. VIFA, the variance and inflation factor, is a different measure. When I will explain the practical, then I could explain it better way. Okay, we removes the value through the VIF also.
Okay, sir.
So now I will tell you one more thing, which is very important. Here I have given the AIC and everything, but it is not as much important now at this moment. I will tell you about the logarithmic also. And so you will get the idea about the logarithmic. Here you see what we are getting here. The linear equation, if you see a line is infinite or not? Line is infinite.
Infinite.
So we get the domain of line would be minus infinite to infinite or not? Domain of line. The x values will be minus infinite to plus infinite.
Yes, sir.
And the y value is also minus infinite to infinite. Means range is also minus infinite to infinite. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
here
sir.
what happens in the logistic regression, for the logistic regression, simple logistic regression, we want the response in binary form. Binary form is 0 and 1, yes and no, true and false. Okay. And but we get the response of y in the linear regression in minus infinite to infinite. We could not get the response in 0 and 1. Can we get the response in 0 and 1? Yeah, we could not get. But the similar thing we use, the same thing, same approach we use in the logistic regression. So I will explain you. I will go through the reverse process. I will go the reverse process. You require the response zero and one. Okay, it is the set of 0 and 1. Okay. But if I go to the probability belongs to 0 and 1, between 0 and 1. Does that make sense to you? Now we have increased the range. There was only 0 and 1. Now 0 to 1. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
I am going reverse. Okay, I will go to here, minus infinite to infinite. I have to reach there. Okay. Now one more thing I do. 1 minus p. So if I put p is equal to 0, then I will get 0. I will get 0. If I put 1, then what I will get? Instead of p,
Infinite.
infinite. So I have got the range increased or not? My range increased.
Yes, sir.
First I want only 0 and 1. Then I increase the range 0 to 1. Then I 0 to infinite. I have to go to negative side also, minus infinite. So what I will do? I will take the log p over 1 minus p. Does that make sense to you now? If
Yes,
we
sir.
take the log of this, we will get the minus infinite to infinite. So this range is now equal to this range. So
Yes, sir.
instead of y cap or the y whatever, you could write log p over 1 minus p. That is equivalent now. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I will do, there is a base is e. So e to the power y cap, we get p 1 minus p. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
E is constant and y cap we also got some numeric value here. Does that makes sense to you, sir?
Yeah, yeah, yes, sir.
So we could write c instead of this, some constant. Okay. Some value I am putting for this. See, now we cross multiply this. And c minus pc is equal to p. And I take this to there now. So c is equal to p,
P minus PC.
p plus pc. I transfer this. So p is equal to 1 plus c. So c over 1 plus c is equal to p. Got it? So in this way, I could find out the probability.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Or I could write in this way also. E to the power y 1 plus e to the power y is equal to p. Does that make sense to you? Same thing.
Yes, sir.
So you have the y, whatever the value of y you get, y cap or y, whatever you are taking. So you just exponent it and you will get the value of p in this way you put here. So we get the value of p instead of y cap. Instead of y cap, in our logistic regression model, we write something there. That is the type, what response. So response you want in the probability. So instead of y numeric value, you get the response in probability. 0.1, 0.12, 154, something like that. You get the instead of values, you get this probabilities. Does that make sense to you? You converted that value in probability. Okay. Now this is, we have the value between 0 and 1 now. But we want the value in 0 and 1 only. We want the value in 0 and 1. So what we will do? Just a moment. I just draw one line here. I will show in a small area. This is my probability 0 and 1. Okay. On the y-axis, I have the probability. On the x-axis, I have the observations, not the x1, x2, x3. I have the observations. First observation, second observation, third observation. Okay. Is the N1. I take some dark. It is N1, N2, N3. These are the observations I have. Okay. So this observation given me value this much probability, and this observation given me this probability, this observation given me this probability, and this observation given me this probability. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
And then I will choose one cutoff. There is a procedure to choose the cutoff in R. So I suppose I take a cutoff here at 0.3 probability. So whatever the points, whatever the values, whatever the observations got the probability more than 0.3, it will convert in 1. Does that make sense to you?
Yes,
It
sir.
will become 1. And what is the probability less than equal to 0.3 will convert in 0. Okay. So now I have got the value in 0 and 1 only. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
Is there any doubt, Radhakrishna ji?
Sir. No, sir, no, actually, no, in R, you will be teaching all these things, sir, how to do this linear and logistic regression. I am more If
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have time, take it. Yes, sir. This is fine, sir.
Do you understand the concept
Yeah,
behind
yeah,
this?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
है ना?
Theory
So
is clear, sir.
that is the concept behind that, how we get it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this is the theory behind that. What is the logistic regression? What is the linear regression?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Whenever we do this both thing, this sort of regression, then there is a compulsory to convert every categorical variable in dummy variables in 0 and 1. I explain you. Suppose you have a variable like gender. Okay, gender, you have 3 categories: male, female, and transgender. Okay. So what you do, these are the categorical. So you could make 2 dummy variables, n minus 1. How many categories you have? 3 categories. So you will make only 2 dummy variables. 3, n is the 3, 3 minus 1, 2 dummy variables. One is male and one is female. We will not consider transgender. It is a base category automatically. Which category we will leave? It would be a base category. So you could leave anyone. There is no parameter. Okay, you could leave anyone. You could leave male, you could leave female, you could be transgender. So if someone is male, so that is one, and he is not female now. He is not transgender. I am just writing here. This will the someone is female. Then if someone is transgender, it will both 0 and this will 1. So now we have got numeric variable or not? So
Yes, sir.
yeah, we are getting numeric variable in this way. Through the categorical, we are. It is also called the one hot encoding. One
Yes, sir.
hot encoding. Okay, sir. So in this way, we convert this, and whatever the variable we have to convert all in the numeric form. If there's some somehow 8.3%, so we have to remove this percent sign, and then we have to convert this in numeric. Okay. So everything should be in the numeric form in the linear and the logistic regression. In the decision tree and random forest, it was not required. There is no requirement to do the feature engineering. This is called the feature engineering. You are encoding, na? One hot encoding is the part of feature engineering. Feature selection is a different thing. Feature engineering is a different thing. Does that make sense to you, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I think it's okay for today. And something if I require, you could ask. I will explain you tomorrow also. Okay. And tomorrow we start new chapter also, support vector machine. So I think the concept of linear and logistic have been clear to you, Mr. Suresh Kumar.
Yes,
and,
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Sir, if some problem is given, how do you identify whether you should use linear or logistic regression?
If it is the problem is the dependent, it depends on the target variable, sir. If the target variable will require only yes and no response, binary, somebody will leave the job or not leave the job. So it is a binary type problem. It is not a continuous type problem. So we could select that logistic regression, sir.
I see.
It depends on the target variable. What is the objective and what variable we are taking there as a target variable. If there is a some other variable like you see increase in salary, that is a numeric variable. How much is to be increased? That is the as I explained you that the HR appraisal, what we say the. So that is a numeric appraisal model if we create, or if we create the churning model, the who will switch out attrition. What we say the attrition is also there, no? So that is the
Yeah.
yes and no. That is the logistic,
Oh, I see. Okay.
and the appraisal is a numeric. That is a linear.
Okay.
Okay, sir. So we will take the I will give the project on that also. We will discuss this later. First we finish few more modeling, then we will do one project, minimum 1 or 2 project. I will give you the 5 project, any one you could choose from it. You could do also 5 yourself, but I will give you the guidance only for the one project. Whatever you will choose, the BSF it may be the what approach you have to use. You have to Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you.
The practical when you do, you will get the more confidence. So, Remy, it's okay.
Sir, yesterday you said that you can upload the
Yes,
auto
sir.
regression video. So if you upload it, so it will be better
Aut-
for.
Auto regression.
Sir, you said that yes, last day it will be better for understanding ANIMA model. You completed in maybe R3, but we are direct from R to R4. That's why
Yeah.
you said that you will uploaded the link for a auto regression and linear.
No, auto regression nahi. It was the linear regression and the logistic regression.
Linear and logistic regression.
I think he means autocorrelation slides you said in the last class.
Auto correlation I have asked about. The auto correlation I will tell you. PACF and the ACF. Not about that.
Oh, so sir, linear logistic model will complete it in R3.
R3, yeah, itself R3.
Sir, when it will start R3, sir?
Yeah, we will start it later. We will start it again.
So, sir, to upload auto regression video, please upload.
Auto regression is not there. Auto correlation.
Auto correlation, yes.
Auto correlation I have explained today, no? ACF, auto correlation factor, in that Excel sheet.
Oh, yes, yes, sir.
That was the auto correlation factor. And the PSF, partial auto correlation factor. Partial auto correlation factor is a linear regression approach we are using there, no?
Yes.
Hello, Praveerji.
Yes, bole Ramaji, bole.
Yeah, so I haven't received the R4 tutorials Google Drive material.
Okay.
I haven't received the Google Drive material for this R4. Could you please update the Google Drive? So,
okay, we have uploaded. R4 is there.
yeah, but I haven't seen any material in the link for the shared folder of the Google Drive for the R4. I got everything for R2.
But R2, I think the wrongly, by mistake, the R2 link have been shared with you.
Sir?
Yeah, but I haven't get any information related to the R4 link. I haven't received.
Okay, I will share it. I will share it.
Sir, in the same mail, the links are there.
Yes, sir.
In the same mail, the links were updated. Actually, in first mail, he sent incorrect drive URL. So he rectified it and sent a new URL for that drive.
New also sent by him, no?
And
yeah.
Actually, separate drive.
I will resend that. I will resend that mail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, sir. I will resend it.
Okay. Yeah.
I will resend it today.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. So, okay, thanks everyone.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Okay, thank you.